Welcome to Oilers Nation Everyday with your hosts, Tyler and Liam.
Connor McDavid delivering a belt miss whooping to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's get into it with the lead. Honestly, I had no ideas for today's lead. That just came to me in the moment.
Speechless.
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of speechless. Don't clip that.
That was wild.
I can't believe I just saw that. That's a good way to start the week.
Yeah, it's a good way to get fired up.
Guys, no one's talking about the Frederick contract. Address Frederick.
Wait, we have to, guys, I have to address it? Or you?
I'll address it.
Like Frederick himself.
Well, maybe we all should.
We're going to talk.
I'll get on screen right now and say one thing about Trent Frederick's contract. I'll go first.
Okay.
Once we all get up. It's long. It's a long contract. Tyler, if you go.
Aaron, you go.
Okay.
Spin zone off Liam's. He's got so much time to turn this around. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one. That's one, Ty.
That's one.
He's 5.03% done it.
That's actually way further ahead than I thought.
Every day we stray closer. Every day we stray further from God and closer to the end of Trent
Now,
Frederick's.
it's not a map bit, but if we started like filling him up with thermometer of how much percentage we're down the contract. But that's just a mean bit.
I was going to say, and I really like him.
I like him too. He's hidden.
Yeah.
I actually think he's been better the past week or so. He just can't score a goal to save his life. But
T-Dog is in and says,
from Walking Dead,
he says, Freddie needs to get sent down. Call up Hudson. Well, they aren't calling up. Oh, no, they are calling up Hutson. You spelt it right. I thought you spelt it wrong. They are calling up Hudson. So you're going to be very excited to read that. Welcome into the show, everybody. We are live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online at sportscloset.ca. We are also a presentation of Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We have breaking news from the NHL, everybody. The Buffalo Sabres have fired GM Kevin Adams. Jarmo Kekalainen is taken over.
Did not see this coming.
The replacement was in the building the whole time, and a move that we all speculated would be happening for, well, basically since Jarmo Kekalainen got brought into the organization. Kevin Adams is finally out. This is a long time coming. This makes so much sense. It's a great day for us to have David Pagnotta on the program. Because this is a pretty big change for the Buffalo Sabres. And listen, longest playoff drought, tied with the New York Jets for the longest playoff drought in North American pro sports. Yeah.
At least when the Jets went to the playoffs the last time, they went to the conference final back-to-back years. Kind of crazy they haven't made it back since then when you really think about it.
Yeah, it is. Anyways, yeah, that
Sanchez is up to.
That's the breaking news today from the NHL. I'm very curious what that means big picture-wise for the Buffalo Sabres, because, I mean, you're bringing in Jarmo Kekalainen, who is, like, I actually think he's a pretty good GM. I think he did a lot of really good things with the Columbus Blue Jackets.
He's very different GM, very aggressive.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
He's not a guy who's going to come in and go, well, I have time. Let's get some top 5 picks and build the. I think he's going to come in and be like, I'm swinging.
Yeah, and it sounds like Buffalo tried to swing at Quinn Hughes, which obviously happened over the weekend as well. They were one of the names that was out there that I was very surprised to see.
Who put that out there?
I think Freeman had it.
Really?
It was the Sabres, the Red Wings, the Devils, and the Hurricanes were the other 4 teams.
Kevin Adams like, I might get fired on Monday, but if I can acquire Quinn Hughes.
Could you imagine if Quinn Hughes went to Buffalo?
Well, remember, he had no trade protection.
No,
right?
I know.
Like, they could trade him anywhere.
But could you imagine if that's where it ended up? Say, hey, man, we traded you. He said, finally, I'm going to play with my brothers.
Buffalo.
You're traded to Buffalo. You're actually not even in that division.
Yeah. But Quinn Hughes lands in Minnesota. That one was a stunner. What were you doing when you found out about the news?
I was getting ready to go to a Christmas party, and I just picked up my iPad and scrolled Twitter, and literally as I refreshed, was it Drager who broke it first?
Yeah.
He was the first one, and it was just like Quinn Hughes to Minnesota. And I was stunned. And then I saw the trade package, and I was like, what a deal. What a great trade, I think, anyway. Like, you get 2 players that'll slide right into your lineup right away and boom him. and Rossi. Ogren, is that how you say his name? Ogren. Obviously, he leaves a lot to be desired. I don't think he has a point yet this season, former first-round pick. But to get a first-round pick as well, I think this is a really solid trade. And for Minnesota, good for Bill Guerin to continue to push the agenda and trying to bring Minnesota back to the top if they were ever really there. But like the state of hockey now is a quality team that can compete for a Stanley Cup.
That blue line's the best blue line in the NHL.
I'd have to have a look
and I'm not even sure now if it's particularly close. You're running a top pairing that is Brock Faber and Quinn Hughes. And right now, they have Spurgeon, Bogosian, Damon Hunt, and David Juracek, but they're missing both Middleton and Brodin. When Middleton and Brodin come back, you're going to be running Quinn Hughes and Brock Faber, Jared Spurgeon and Jonas Brodin, and Jacob Middleton with David Juracek.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's the best blue line in the NHL. And I agree, like Mulick says in the chat, they got very good value for the Canucks, very good trade for both sides. Vancouver's back is pushed up against the wall.
Yeah, I would say to an extent. I think this was the perfect time to trade him because now that team gets 2 runs at him at least.
And that's why I think, again, and we talked about this kind of a month ago, where it was like, it makes way more sense for Vancouver to trade him now because teams will be interested in him without wanting a guaranteed extension. Like, I truly think if you would have waited until July, and we're going to have we have a couple of great guests today. Dave Pagnotta at 12:30, David Quadrelli at 1 o'clock, double Dave edition of
Big
the
Dave
show.
Day.
Yeah, Big Dave Day. Big Dave Day. So we'll talk about all this more with both Pags and Quads. But the fact you did this now opened up teams who go, you know what? I will pay a premium for Quinn Hughes. One, because he's the, without a doubt, second best defenseman in the NHL behind only Cale Makar. But I'll get 2 playoff runs with him, and I'll have 18 months to try to convince him to stick around here. And like the way Quinn Hughes talks about Bill Guerin and how, I'll say, enamored he was at the cost they were willing to pay for him, man, I think there is a chance there's a long-term future here. But in the meantime, if you're Billy G, you now have 18 months to go pedal to the floor and try win a Stanley Cup here. Because this roster, well, it's very clearly missing one thing, a centerman. You get a good centerman in there. I said today on DFO Live, I was like, go get Braden Shen from St. Louis and do not care about the price that it costs to acquire him. You have a hell of a goaltending tandem. You have a hell of a blue line, and you have some really good forwards. You add one more piece to this mix, they are right there with Colorado and Dallas in the Central.
I still think they're the 3rd best team in that division.
I think that blue line is such a differentiator. You know.
But the forward group lacks a lot. Like your top line right now, and obviously the center thing you mentioned, but like Kaprizov, what does that say? Yukov?
Yeah.
And Tarasenko, what year is it? You know what I mean? Like, you're dealing with Tarasenko, who's, 34 now? Like, second-line wingers, Marcus Johansson. Like, are they missing players, or is this their healthy forward group? Because that 4th line is AHL level.
Yeah.
I still think they're the 3rd best team, and there's a lot of work to do, but I credit him for using the assets, and credit to them for also drafting incredibly well over the last few years to build up the kind of trade assets they were able to deliver. But they need some forwards for sure.
Well, like, Aaron, can you just flash up their forward lines again? Because I'll give you a little bit of a counterpoint to that. Like, how much different do you view Tarasenko on the first line if Braden Shen is down the middle? And it's like elite two-way centerman or a really, really good two-way centerman in Braden Shen, Kaprizov, Tarasenko. Tarasenko can just do whatever the hell he wants, right? You'll have a defensive conscience there. And also keep in mind, they're currently missing Marcus Foligno and Matt Zuccarello.
That's what I mean. I didn't know who they were missing.
Yeah.
So Matt Zuccarello, what's he anymore, right?
He's still good.
Is he still doing well?
But like you throw him on that second line and it pushes Johansson down to the 3rd line and then pushes Obey Kubel down and then pushes Pitlick out of the lineup. And then you go and you mix in Marcus Foligno, right? Then all of a sudden you put him on the 3rd line and Yakov Trenin takes Ben Jones out of the lineup. And your 3rd line is Johansson, Foligno, and Hartman. And everything slots a little bit better. You put Urov down on the 4th line once you acquire a center. Like, anyways, we'll talk more about the Minnesota and the Quinn Hughes stuff with our guests.
Okay.
Because I think Pagnotta and Quads, they'll be able to give us really, really good insight into that. Let's stick to our area of expertise. Let's talk about the Edmonton Oilers a little bit here, Liam, because they played 2 games over the weekend. Our game recaps, plural. It's brought to you by Greta. We had a great time at Greta on Friday night for our festive face-off. Gave away some great prizes. Had a couple of cold ones. Did pre- and post-game with Aaron. It was an awesome vibe down at Greta. My only complaint, football game didn't work. I didn't get a chance to play a football game. I'm so pissed.
Mine was that the Jurassic Park game was just, I kept catching my eye.
It was too distracting.
Too distracting.
I do like that new
Wish it was
Jurassic
in a
Park
different spot.
Also, VLTs. I don't know if
Yeah,
we're allowed
that
to
was
say
crazy.
crazy
You're allowed
awesome.
to say it's part of Greta.
Yeah,
It's
I
okay.
think so.
It's
The
right in
fact-
the entrance.
It's right by the entrance, and the fact that now you can go from like cutting a rug up on the dance floor, take literally 3 steps, and you're sitting at a VLT. My kind of bar.
Cutting up the dance floor.
Cutting up the dance floor.
You couldn't. We were doing pre-gaming on the dance floor.
We were. So let's start by talking about the Saturday game. I said it during the lead, but Connor McDavid, good Lord, does he ever love playing against the Toronto Maple Leafs? Does he ever
Against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Against.
For all you weirdos out there, those are, look how much fun he has in Toronto. He's like playing it against you. He likes going once a year and for Christmas.
This was just, all in all, a very, very solid hockey game by the Edmonton Oilers, and it's kicked off by, get your sticks. We're going to the video board. 3 minutes and 20 seconds in, Boosh, pass, McDavid, Ekman Larson doesn't even see him.
No, and then Morgan Riley is like, oh, I'm going the wrong way again.
Yeah, can you pause it right when he picks up the puck in the neutral zone so we can get a look at Oliver Lawson in here? Look at this. He's looking over here. David is right here and goes and just cuts around him. And then you're right. Morgan Riley, like what? It's very confusing. But
Morgan Riley, I think, becomes the victim of what Ekman Larson did here.
Because Ekman Larson should take the man, which means Morgan Riley should protect the pass.
I think. But then again, Morgan Riley's supposed to play that side of the ice. My overall review, terrible defensive play.
Yeah.
Let's just label it as they all played bad.
But this
was awesome.
Connor McDavid forces you to be terrible defensively because he hits you with speeds that no one else can get to. He was going north of 33 kilometers an hour on this goal. And look at where he picks. Oh my God, just flying.
And also, like, it's such a small pass from Bush. But, like, to get it, like, right on his tape perfectly so he gets him in motion is a really nice play on this. We'll also talk about Brossoit shortly, folks. I know it's been a hot conversation.
Laurent Brossoit on waivers, those who didn't catch it. Well, that's, again, a conversation for later. Let's stick to this weekend. The Oilers eventually went down 2-1, and then Connor McDavid, or should I say, Troy Stecher, finds the back of the net for the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid throws it in front. Troy Stecher forgets what team he's playing for. It goes down as an own goal, but it is Connor McDavid's second of the night, and there was a very funny clip of him on the bench going, that was a nice shot by Stech.
Did he say that?
Yeah, you can read his lips on the bench. It's hilarious. But again, McDavid just drives in wide, around, throws in front, and Troy Stecher couldn't believe it.
What a goal.
What a goal. Tony Stech. Once an Oiler, always an Oiler.
But pucks to the net. This is
create your own luck.
Create your own bounces, create your own luck. I actually thought Nuge scored this goal, but another part of it too is like when he comes back around here, shout out Tony Stretcher. The pressure that Hyman and Nuge actually put on the net as well is quite important in this play of just like causing like, oh, they might get it if I don't make a play on this. Like they're not that close, I guess, when the puck comes in front, Nuge is, but like they put pressure on him to do something with the puck, Tony Stretcher, if it comes to him. And he, hell of a finish. A lot of poise.
On Stetcher. Darnell Nurse made it 3-2 for the Edmonton Oilers, and then we get to the third period, and we are going to talk a lot about the support players on the Edmonton Oilers today, but Vasily Podkolzin had himself a hell of a weekend. His 7th and 8th goals on the year came against the Toronto Maple Leafs, only 34 seconds apart as well, Liam, which is just great to see. Again, the game's still totally up in the air at this point. Draisaitl throws a puck on net. Podkolzin has it go off him. But again, like this is, you and I are going to beat this drum until we're blue in the face, until we're not doing this show anymore in however many years. But like, create your own luck. Throw the puck on net, have someone go to the net, and good things can happen for you. And this was a night where the Oilers scored 6 goals. And yes, Connor McDavid scored an absolute beauty, a highlight reel goal. But what were the other ones? Lucky bounces and pucks on net. Like, there's no reason why they can't do more of this stuff. And similar here, right? Like, throw a puck towards the middle of the ice. Don't get all cutesy and think you need to fire it around the perimeter 30 times before you go and score. Also, horrendous turnover by Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Attaboy.
But Draisaitl just throws it towards the net. Podkolzin puts his stick on the ice. Beautiful play, but one that is born out of just creating your own bounces.
If you can put the first one up, Aaron, there's something I just want to point out. Watch Alec Regula. I thought a really good game on Saturday. Just his movement drags Bobby McMahon. McMahon is that his name? Just out of the way of Draisaitl a little bit and creates some extra room for Draisaitl to actually make this play. And it's a very small thing, but I feel like we really haven't seen this from Regula at all. It actually came back to bite him the next day, being Sunday, with some of the plays he was making. But I thought on Saturday he did a really good job of involving himself in the offense. Picked up his first assist as an Edmonton Oiler.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Kind of crazy.
Hyman eventually made it 6-2. The Leafs scored a late one by Steven Lorenz to make it 6-3, which ruined
the stats.
Ruined Tristan Jarry's .900 save percentage, but quickly, Tristan Jarry's debut gets a thumbs up from us.
Thumbs up.
Breakaway save on John Tavares was great.
Yeah.
Made a couple of nice stops, gave up a couple of goals that were, kind of whatever, if you want to call them that. But all in all, I thought Tristan Jarry had himself a really nice weekend, a really nice debut.
Thought he was perfectly fine. Nothing special, nothing bad, but good enough to get the win. And, I mean, we were talking about the first goal against the one where it's kind of like the awkward one comes to him. It's like a soft backhand, right? And he doesn't push it out. I wonder how much of that was like him trying to get an understanding of his equipment a little bit too. Mm-hmm. Like it was the first time he's ever won. It was that day. So I think he had a decent game. The stat line probably should have been a little bit higher for how well he actually played.
Yeah, I agree. 893, whatever. Again, he was solid. First game with a new team. I think you want to cut him some slack. Puck moving, I like that. He's very aggressive going out of the net and helping out his defenseman, which again is something that they all liked when they had Mike Smith. Yeah. And Stu would do it.
He wasn't bad at it.
He wasn't bad at it, but he wasn't like an elite puck mover in the way that
I don't
Jarry
think
is.
it came natural to him.
Yeah.
Aaron, sorry, could you pull up that graphic again? I think it was wrong.
Why?
Troy Seicher had a goal.
Classic Liam. Classic Liam zinger.
Take that, Tony.
He didn't even do nothing wrong. He just got claimed on waivers. So the Oilers walk out of Toronto with a 6-3 victory, and they had the daunting task of playing in back-to-back games, which is something they have been horrendous in so far this year. They've actually had a lot of back-to-backs because of their compressed schedule, and they were, 0-2-3 coming into this one, so points in 3 of the 5, but they were yet to pick up a win in the second of back-to-backs. And honestly, this game, right out of the gates, Edmonton gets a 2-minute 5-on-3, and it's like, here we go. Like, this could Mary belt miss, everybody. A belt miss gift that we all love to see. Edmonton actually held, it was basically 2 minutes of consistent zone time.
Yeah.
And I know there was a little bit of talk of they're forcing it to Leon Draisaitl to get his 1,000th point. No. They're always forcing it to Leon Draisaitl on the power play. That's one of my biggest gripes with the power play. And listen, it's a curse and a blessing because Leon from his spot is so good. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't exclusive to last night. They're guilty of it plenty of times of trying to force to Leon in that spot. Just a coincidence that he's 1 point away from getting 1,000.
Well, I don't know if most people know this. Leon Draisaitl is the best shooter on the power play.
Yeah.
So trying to get your best shooter the puck, if it's to get his 1,000th point or not, it's probably a good idea, especially on a 5-on-3.
They just do it too much.
I think they do it too much, but I didn't have that same feeling either, where it was like they're forcing it to him. I think it's just their play.
It's just an easy narrative to grasp, is to be why are things going bad? Well, surely they're forcing it to Leon Draisaitl. I didn't see it that way at all.
I will say this, and I'm curious what you guys think about this too, and let me know in the chat. After the Oilers were down a few, I didn't want him to get the point.
No, it would have been too awkward.
It's too much. And you just know Leon's you're losing in the game. Then all of a sudden the bench is clear and it's 3-1. When they got the power play point, I was I kind of hope he didn't get on that. Yeah. And he didn't. And now you can have the moment, hopefully, when it's more meaningful.
On Stuart Skinner tomorrow.
Which is kind of funny. It feels poetic.
It shows you how unpredictable an NHL season is.
Sports is, yeah. It's a factor Stu probably chipped in to get him the gift.
Yeah.
Whatever they were showing in that case yesterday, I bet Stuart Skinner threw $20 down and was hey, go get him a nice cake. You would have to imagine there's probably something that he contributes to.
So the power play changes the trajectory of this hockey game. Absolutely. And the Oilers' big guns, I'm not going to say they were guilty of overpassing to Draisaitl. I think they were guilty of overpassing in general. The amount of cutesy behind the back, no look, I'm going to throw this here, hope plays. Again, put pucks on net. You just came off a game against the Leafs where good things happened because you were throwing pucks on net. And don't get me wrong, Dobish played very, very well.
He had a good game.
He made some really nice stops, but the Oilers were too cutesy, too perimeter. That's my beef with the big guns last night. But I am not going to sit here and pin a entire loss on the Oilers power play because it's been one of the best power plays in the NHL. And last time they played the Habs, they don't win if it's not for their power play. So I'm not going to sit here and like roast the power play too much.
They learned to kill a penalty.
They did learn to kill penalty. I think the way bigger issue from last night's hockey game is just the absolutely pathetic efforts they are getting from their bottom six. And there are 3 guys in particular who I am pointing fingers at today, and they're the guys who make the most money in the bottom 6.
Yeah.
Adam Henrique, Andrew Mangiapane, and Trent Frederick. They are the reason. Do you have the Habs' 4th goal, the one that was off the turnover? The amount of times, Liam, that the play was dying, not necessarily on Adam Henrique's stick, but on plays or as a result of plays that Adam Henrique couldn't make. Like, we're talking about like 6-foot passes that would go into someone's skates, all of this stuff. They were brutal. They've been brutal for a while. And last night, it's 3-1, 6 minutes left. You're not out of this game yet. Regula off to the side to Frederick. That puck has to get deep. You need to make a play with the puck there. They don't. Tessier fires one past Pickard, and the game's over because the 3rd line, 4th line we'll call them, because I think calling them a 3rd line is too fucking complimentary right now. But that turnover absolutely cannot happen. And if it's a one-off, if it's in a game where, or in a stretch where you're playing well and you make a mistake, it's fine. I'm not saying that guys aren't allowed to make a mistake. You cannot play as poorly as you've played all season for all 3 of these guys and then be making mistakes like this that cost your team a hockey game. It's brutal.
Let's see this one. I think Regula should have put this deep, to be honest. I think that one's kind of on him. Freddie needs to make a play, sure. But
make a play.
As soon as Freddie gets that puck, the defenseman's stick is on him. I don't think he had a lot of room.
Make a hard play.
But just put the puck deep. That was where my gripe came on this. But this happened way too much last night, and it was those, obviously Freddie's a victim on this one, but you have Savoy had a bad one. Regula tried to make a blind backhand spin around a pass to the middle. Buddy, you've had one good game offensively.
Yeah.
Like, let's not get carried away. And there was a bunch, and they just weren't the puck. What is it? Puck possession. What's the word? Puck control.
Yeah, puck control.
Sure. They were terrible with the puck last night. Is what I'm puck management.
There's an inside replay here, and listen, I don't want to sit here and like argue for 5 minutes about if it's more Regula's fault or Frederick's, but like you're down 2 goals in the game, and I actually kind of like this play from Regula because look where he is when Frederick first touches the puck. Like this is a very clear, it's a give and go. It's a very simple play, I think, to execute where Regula, Freddie, and look, there's so much open space there for Regula to be jumping up into, and Frederick just holds onto the puck. To me, this should have been a one-touch, chip in. Regula's now past that defenseman, and you have possession of the puck in the offensive zone, which, again, you're down by 2. You should be wanting to get possession of the puck in the offensive zone.
Yeah.
Yes, it's on Regula. It's also on Frederick. It's on a whole bunch of guys, and I have some numbers here for those 3.
These are crazy.
It's damning. It's damn depressing as well. When just one of, and this is scenarios where it's one of them, 2 of them, or all 3 of them. But when or at least I should say, one of Henrique Mangiapane or Frederick are on the ice, the Edmonton Oilers are getting outscored 47-25 at 5-on-5 this year. They are getting almost doubled up in goals when one, or at least one, of Henrique Mangiapane or Frederick are on the ice. And that includes the minutes where Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl are with them. If you take out the minutes that one of them have played with McDavid or Draisaitl, so now this is the scenario I'm giving you. It is 5-on-5. McDavid and Draisaitl are off the ice, and at least one of Frederick Mangiapane or Henrique are out there, okay? So no Connor or Leon, and at least one of Henrique Mangiapane or Frederick on the ice. They're getting outscored 31-12.
That's not good.
They are getting almost tripled up. 3 guys who make north of $10 million are getting almost tripled up in 5-on-5 offense when they're on the ice. That is pathetic. If there was any amount of accountability that could be had here, all 3 of them should be out of the fucking lineup for those numbers. Horrible, horrible, horrible.
I actually don't think Knobloch's been given the opportunity to bench them.
Not healthy enough to do it.
There's guys who are obviously missing out of the lineup, but it'll be interesting when they come back. Like, I feel like the decision is pretty straightforward when Kapanen and Brossoit come back. Even Kapanen to an extent. I think Frederick's been a bit more physical lately, and that's a good thing, and we can give him that. I thought Henrique had a really strong start to the season. We looked before. He had 2 goals in his first, whatever it was, like 12, 13 games. Maybe that's even too high, to be honest. But his last goal was against the Montreal Canadiens. He's clearly not contributing enough. And obviously, Mangiapane had a really good start to the year, got promoted to the top 6, the top line, sorry, McDavid, then just fell apart from there. Like, my biggest gripe is more with Mangiapane, because I feel like some days I'm literally not seeing him play. Like, this might sound silly, but like, how would you rank those 3 in terms of like, I need more from you, and that's obviously offensively, physically, just everything in general. Like, to me, I would have Mangiapane be my 1.
Yep.
Because I'm not seeing anything physical from him.
Nope.
Like, there was certain moments where I was like, look, he's trying to get in there. It's like, okay, but he's not doing anything when he's in there. I would probably have Frederic 2. At least I'm getting the physical side of the game from him. He tried to fight last night.
Yep.
Obviously, it didn't end up being that way. Bad turnover. Whatever.
Fighting when you have 14 zippers in your cheek as well.
Yeah, I think he has started to find that side of his game a little bit. There's obviously a lot more to be desired. I get that. And then it would be Henrique for me, because at least you're getting penalty killing out of him.
I was going to say, I don't get overly offended with a lot of Adam Henrique's games, even though, Aaron, how many games? 25 games without a goal?
25 games without a goal for Rico.
Yeah, like, I mean, we want more, don't get us wrong, but like,
Yeah.
I don't sit here and think, what an error from Adam Henrique. I just don't think anything, which maybe is a larger problem. But now, obviously, they called up Quinn Hutson.
They did. So, if I had to rank them, Mangiapane is the one I'm most irritated with on a consistent basis, because there's no jam, so many sloppy turnovers, pucks die on his stick, opportunities for 2-on-1s where he just fumbles it and it goes away.
Won't shoot.
He won't shoot, even though he has a good shot. He's had more games this year where he's had 0 shots than games where he's had 2 or more shots on net.
Yeah. Wow.
Effort, piss poor. Execution, piss poor. Doesn't have a role. Doesn't seem interested in establishing a role. Be a volume shooter, or be a pest, or be someone who skates hard and plays physical. He just does none of them. And I don't want to sit here and be like overly mean to a guy. Like, part of the reason I'm frustrated, though, is, I mean, this is maybe out of his control. This is just who Andrew Mangiapane is. And
Maybe
that's frustrating, because this front office decided to commit to him for 2 years at $3.8 million, knowing this is what he is. Like, you talk to people in Washington, Calgary, like, he had the one outlier year, but like, this is who he is. He's a bottom 6 guy who gives you a handful of 5-on-5 goals a year, and other than that, will just be a ghost for stretches. Horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Next guy for me, number 2, is Trent Frederic, just from the perspective of, like, I'm not as mad at him as I am at Mangiapane, because I see things that Trent Frederic does well, and I think there is room for Trent Frederic to be better than he currently is.
Yes, I agree.
I'm worried about Mangiapane because I think this might just be who he is, and they might not ever get anything better out of him. I'm not as worried about that with Frederic because I see a player there. He needs to get confident. He needs to skate better. They need to tape his eyeballs like this and make him watch Vasily Podkolzin film just nonstop and be like, this is what you could be. And I truly think there is that in Trent Frederic's game once he figures it out. He just needs to have the light bulb go off in his head to do it. So I think there's a player there with Freddie, but I'm frustrated that it's December 15th and we're still talking about a guy who can't have the light, like the light bulb still hasn't gone off. He shows flashes, he plays physical, all that stuff, but there's just more. And then finally, Henrique, he's 3 because, like you said, at least he's a center. At least he kills penalties. At least he fills a role for you. And he's also the cheapest of the bunch. So, like, sure, that's a part of it, too.
Which is, I never even thought of it from that way. Yeah, he is the cheapest
of the bunch.
Someone pointed there, I forget who it was, it scrolled by. Max Jones is better than Trent Frederic last night. I promise you do not actually think that.
No, you don't.
Because I forgot he played. Was I supposed to do a video before of like who comes out of the lineup for Quinn Hutson? And Aaron said Trent Frederic because he forgot Max Jones. I literally forgot
Max Jones played in the game yesterday. Yep. I did the post-game show yesterday, less than 24 ago. He's not better than Freddie.
No, he's not. But do you want to talk about Quinn Hutson quickly?
Well, I want to get to a couple comments here. Maj, what has Frederic done that Tomasic can't? Hit, skate, and play physical.
Yeah.
Like Tomasik is a tweener, I think, at this point.
I actually think he's been playing a little bit better recently, too.
I actually think he's a fine 13th forward because you can move him around a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's not an everyday NHLer. I think that's pretty apparent here. Dave said Manji is what he is. Freddie is just trying to fill a role, and he's having trouble with it. Exactly. Like, I think eventually Frederick's going to figure this out a little bit. QF Pro, why isn't Mangiapane in the press box at this point? Why Chris Knobloch was the way he was with Jeff Skinner and won't be that way with other guys. I get injuries have maybe played a role in that, but like he's shown no willingness outside of maybe one game to like truly punish or hold Andrew Mangiapane accountable. And last year, Jeff Skinner would score a goal then be out of the lineup the next day. And I know there's little things coaches want to see. I get it, but still, it's frustrating that like we just have to keep watching Andrew Mangiapane. I don't know.
It's actually a good point. Never thought of it from the Jeff Skinner side of things. Again, you said it, but like I do just think it comes down to health. Like when this lineup's healthy, it's a pretty easy decision on who's coming in, who's coming out.
Yeah.
I was surprised though that Max Jones was brought into the lineup for Tomasik. Like I don't really understand the logic around that. Maybe a speed thing. That would be the only side of it I could imagine.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So I tweeted it yesterday. I'll even find the full tweet here. I said, another brutal night from the Oilers' bottom six. Plays dying with Henrique. Frederick turning pucks over. Mangiapane's a ghost. Awful for three guys who combine for north of $10 million in cap space. Call up Quinn Hutson and give this group some life. Well, what did the Oilers do today?
They read your tweet.
They read my tweet and called up Quinn Hutson. I mean, listen, big portions of the fan base have been yelling for this for a while. But he leads all American Hockey League rookies in goals and points. Bob Stauffer says he earns the recall. The Oilers could use the boost in secondary scoring. And that my exact point with this before, when they needed jam in the bottom six, they looked at Bakersfield and said, who is someone who can come up and give us some jam? Connor Clattenburg, he did exactly that. You need goals? This is a guy who is producing at an insane level in the American League, especially for how young he is. He's found a way to score at basically every level he's played at. I like this decision. This is the right call. And again, this should be putting some guys on notice in this lineup. I was almost disappointed when Clattenburg came up and played the way he did, that there weren't some guys like Mangiapane who went like, oh shit, I better like turn on the Jets here at some point and start playing more like this guy, or else I might not be in the lineup. If Quinn Hutson comes up and starts scoring goals, shooting pucks, generating chances in the bottom six, there should be some guys who are sitting down there being like, oh shit, I might not have a job.
Mm-hmm. I think the one thing that's been really good about Quinn Hutson this season, he's obviously scoring a lot on power play goals in Bakersfield. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. But when he's scoring, a lot of his goals are coming from the defensive zone and then coming up the ice in transition. And he's not even the one who's transitioning the puck. He's just kind of like the secondary guy that comes in, but he's cleaning up the garbage. And I think that's like a really promising thing for him. He's not even the one skating. He is the one who puts in the puck right here. And you'll see as we go through these, I think there's one power play goal. It's only 5. It's 45 seconds. But he knows how to put the puck in the net and where to be. And I feel like a lot of these guys in the bottom six like don't know how to do it. And these aren't even from the whole season, guys. These are from his literally like last 6 games. And I managed to find 5 goals that were like, oh, these all look very promising. Again, not even the guy who's skating up the puck. He's the one who got it in the defensive zone and gets it up, one-shot scorer. I've been incredibly impressed with what he's been able to do. I did not foresee this for Quinn Hutson.
No, neither did I.
I thought he was going to be a guy who you would call up in case of emergency, of like, we need an extra
James
forward.
Hamblin type.
Yeah, essentially, but he's dialed. He's figured it out, and maybe you should have given him more credit for being a Hudson, essentially. You know what I mean? Like, these guys seem to know what they're doing. Cole's obviously looking good in college, and then his brother as well, Lane. We saw him the other night. It wasn't anything special, I don't think, yesterday, but he's a great player. So, yeah, hopefully the Oilers have got something here and can get a little bit more depth scoring.
Absolutely. All right. I see our first guest is ready to go. So we'll keep the Quinn Hutson conversation going on in a little bit. Yes, we'll talk Laurent Brossoit, but let's get to the Star Mechanical guest line. It's Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. Residential, commercial, 24/7 emergency service. They do it all, and they do it well. StarMechanical.ca to find out more as we bring in David Pagnotta from the DFO Rundown Insider Edition and, of course, the fourth period. You're a busy guy. I mean, Quinn Hughes traded on Friday. Buffalo firing Kevin Adams today as well. Let's start with the Kevin Adams thing. Are you surprised this happened now? I mean, can we be surprised on it? It's been so shitty there for so long.
It has. Yeah, it's been brutal. No, not surprised. Not surprised that this is the route that they went, and the timing in which it happened. I think they wanted to give. This is something that they had contemplated last season as well. Around the start of the season, end of October, they had a bit of or towards the end of October, they were on a bit of a rough start to the season, then started to climb out of it. But there was talk that they were already discussing internally what route to take, and internally being effectively ownership. And they decided against it. At the time, Kyle Okposo's name was brought up as a potential candidate to, at the very least, join management. That didn't happen, and he's since joined the NHLPA. But this is something that they've been going back and forth on for a while. They wanted to give him a chance to try to clean things up. Pagula did, and didn't happen. And now you're dealing with a very similar type of situation the way that this season has gone for the Buffalo Sabres, and push came to shove. It was shit or get off the pot time. You got to make this type of move, and you have to try to clean things up. Now, the interesting thing in all of this is that, Adams was kind of just continuing things on a business as usual type of situation, which means, they clearly didn't give him a heads up or anything that they're contemplating any type of change, which is relatively normal. But he was engaged in Quinn Hughes discussions. He was going back and forth, and had been still going back and forth with Alex Tuck about a contract. Although the status quo there hasn't really been any progress. We'll see how that changes with Jarmo Kekalainen now taking over as GM. But look, bottom line, Sabres couldn't afford to wait anymore. They've been crap for so long. That fan base deserves a lot better. And now it's up to Jarmo to get this team back veering in the right direction.
So what would have happened if they did get Quinn Hughes? Would he still have a job? Was this just going to be what was going to happen either way? Yeah, it seems kind of crazy.
How awkward would that have been?
Hey, thanks for getting probably one of the best players I'll ever play for us, but you're done. You're almost
see you
done.
later. Yeah. Yeah. That would have been awkward. Would have been weird. Maybe it would have saved his job. Maybe they would have said, "Oh, hold on a second, you pull this one out of your hat." So let's see. But not the case. I don't think they were going to put the package together that would have beat out the Minnesota Wild. And although I do think Owen Power was part of the discussion at some point.
I want to ask you a bit more about Jarmo Kekalainen, and then we'll move off of this. But he takes over not as interim GM. He is the general manager in Buffalo. He is a guy who is not afraid to get aggressive and bold. Traditionally, if a new GM was stepping into somewhere, I'd say, look, he now has the benefit of time. Like Matthew Darsh out on Long Island or something like that, where it's like, you can not be good for a couple of years and methodically build this thing the right way because you are the new GM. You get chances to do things. Is that the case here with Jarmo, or is that just not in his DNA? Is this going to be a guy who's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm trading my way out of this?
I think that's the route they're going to take. I think the messaging is, fix this shit now, please, for the love of God. Because we can't keep doing this. And, we know Yarmo's well experienced, did some good things in Columbus, the Jackets were going through some rough patches as well during his tenure. But you look at some of the moves he made, some of the swings that he took. I think that's what the Sabres want out of him. Now, they went through and they tried bringing in a variety of different people in the summer as an advisor, which was effectively, if this team still sucks, then you've got familiarity with the organization, then you slot in, which is exactly what happened. But, they reached out to Ken Holland. They reached out to others in the summer, about different positions. Lou Lamoriello was another one. And they're like, no, we're not. Those guys said no. And then Ken ended up going to Los Angeles. But, they wanted to have an experienced mind, a guy who's not afraid to pull the trigger, that, as I said, can take some big swings and isn't afraid to do it. And Jarmo's effectively that guy. He's been busy all season. He's overseas back home right now, or he's on his way back. But he spent a good chunk of this season. I saw him a lot in Toronto in the first little bit of the season. He's been looking around, moving around, keeping tabs on things, and effectively he's going to come in here and be given the keys to fix this, but fix this as quickly and responsibly as possible. Not let's go through a little retool and allow you to get your feet wet in this. No, your feet are wet. They've been wet since the start of the season. Your knees deep. It's time to get to work.
So could that mean, look, the Oilers obviously traded for a goalie. Sorry to bring this up again. But Buffalo has 3 goalies, and the Oilers still have a backup goalie that probably isn't good enough. Does that mean they would probably you'd be like, hey, enough of this 3 goalie tandem kind of deal?
I mean, nobody wants 3 goalies. Nobody wants to deal with 3. I'm sure these conversations will come up again because Adams was the one spearheading all of those discussions. So we'll see how that now changes with Jarmo taking over completely. I'm sure, Kekalainen was part of some of these discussions at some point with different teams. But the bulk of the heavy lifting was the GM. And now that he's in that seat, he gets to take over and oversee and man those conversations. So whether it's Alex Lyon for a backup role or whatever, a 1B kind of role scenario, which will likely be in this case, at least for Edmonton, a backup. But at least he'll be part of those discussions. And then there were other teams talking about UPL and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. So are those conversations going to be moving forward with other clubs? I still think that one in particular is probably summer related, but now with Jarmo and again the aggressive nature that they want him to have, maybe those types of discussions pick up. The other one, again, Alex Tuch. What do they do there? What do they do with some of their other players? Is there enough now that it's Jarmo's messaging that's going to convince Alex Tuch to be confident enough that they can start to get through a competitive season, and that over the tenure of his contract, he'll be comfortable in the notion that this is going to be a playoff type team. So all of this has to happen. All of this messaging has to happen with the guys inside the room. But like I said, I think Jarmo's going to be aggressive, and he'll continue to listen on guys, whether it's Lyon, UPL, or others.
I want to talk to you. I know it's 48. Actually, weirdly enough, it's only like 48 hours old, but so much has happened since the Tristan Jarry trade that it feels like such a distant memory. We were both kind of critical of it on Friday, saying like no matter how you look at it, you would have either liked retention or maybe not had to give up the second rounder, and then like losing Kulak sucks. Like it feels like the Oilers kind of caved a little bit in this. What's your read on the trade, and was there maybe something that the Oilers were willing to include that allowed this thing to get over the finish line at the end?
Well, they finally, at the end of it, they had to bite down and just, whether it's suck it up or whatever, but get Skinner in this move and then come to, come to a point where they were good to bring in Kulak into this. They didn't want to lose him. They wanted to make the money work, which was really the only way to do it. So that's what I mean by them having to accept the fact that, okay, we have to change our little internal philosophy a little bit and move forward with this. This isn't something that, and we've touched on this before in the season, this isn't something that just came at them on a whim. This wasn't Minnesota Quinn Hughes where it took a week and then they got things going, or only a week and they got things going. This is something that they were kicking the tires on going back to the draft. As the season moved along, we heard names like, Saros and Binnington and this, that, and the other trying to come up with different options because they were just looking around to see what might be possible. We knew Binnington wasn't. We knew Saros was going to be ridiculously tough just financially alone. Plus, you got to figure out what the package is going to be. So this is a guy that they zeroed in on and they wanted. And it just came to that. With 2 more years left on his contract at a palatable cap hit for a starting goalie, you kind of check that box. You hope that, look, 1 game in, so far so good, but you hope that that's consistent. And you hope that he holds the fort down and that you can start focusing finally and exclusively on other areas of your team rather than always having to deal with what the hell's going on in net.
With that said, they probably still need to worry about what's going on behind Tristan Jarry too, right? Like Laurent Brossoit went on waivers today. Look, we all know they can't afford his cap it straight up. Like, what is it, 3.3 or whatever? But like, if he clears waivers, do you think that he obviously becomes a target for other teams other than the Oilers too?
Yeah, I would think so. But there are ways. Look, there's still creative ways to make money work here. If you send Pickard on waivers and you clear out that $1 million, and then you have Tomasek and you have other kind of different guys that you could possibly combo if you go that route by sending some guys down, some of whom don't have waiver protection or don't need to go through waivers. You can go that route. There are ways to make it happen. I just don't know definitively if that's the route that the Oilers want to take at this point. It's clear Jarry's going to get the bulk of the duties, and the only reason Pickard got in net on Sunday was because of the back-to-backs. Yeah. So, you want to also give him a little bit of runway here to kind of go through things, and I don't think it was entirely his fault last night against the Habs. It was more of just, I think, an overall team loss than blaming it on one or two guys, specifically the goalie. But because of the back-to-back scenario, he got in there, and it was going to be a tough match no matter what. So I think as the season kind of moves along here, you give more runway to Jarry. You see if he can handle those duties. And then with a little bit more rest, with a little bit more confidence overall in the group, because presumably they'd be playing better, then you see what you got in Pickard at that point. But, all that might be moot if they figure out the dollars now and go after a Brossoit or look at another option. But, yeah, that's probably an area that would at some point be addressed. But I still think there are other areas of this team, other holes on this team that they'd like to work on. And you guys were touching on it before I jumped on with Quinn Hutson. I guess the Oilers got a Quinn. He's a solid piece, mid-six type of guy. Can he provide some extra punch and extra firepower in this lineup offensively? And this way it allows you to kind of spread things out. And if that is the case, box checked, because that's something that they've been looking at as well.
Well, I read the numbers earlier, and I can share them with you now. So, Henrique, Mangiapane, and Frederic are three of the guys who are taking a ton of the shrapnel from the fan base right now, and deservedly so. When at least one of those... when at least one of those guys are on the ice and McDavid or Draisaitl aren't. So one of Henrique, Mangiapane, or Frederic on the ice with no 97 or 29, the Oilers are getting outscored 31-12 at 5-on-5 this year. That can't be happening for a team with Stanley Cup aspirations to have a bottom six that is just kicking you in the nuts every single game.
Yeah. And it's good to have, the possibility of creating offense in your bottom six, because obviously if you're doing that, it means you're having the puck more, which means the other team isn't, and the stat changes. But at the same time, having more responsible guys in your own zone, more defensively two-way responsible players, is you look at any of the championship teams over the years that have won it, that's what they've got in their bottom six. That's what they've got in their top three. On their third line. I don't know where top three came from. On their third line. That's something that Bowman and company have been kind of looking at. And that's what they thought they had. They thought they had a piece in at least Frederic that was going to be able to throw the body around and provide some extra scoring. No. They thought that Mangiapane was going to be somebody that can be in their top six, and you can move a couple guys down and kind of spread things out and have a little bit more responsibility in the bottom six. No, hasn't happened. So because of all of this, and they thought Henrique would be, in that 3 slot, and assuming that, Nuge was going to be playing on the wing. It just hasn't clearly happened, and I think it caught them a little bit off guard. More so than anything, I think it caught them more off guard with respect to Frederic and just his overall performance. Because, yes, the goal scoring or the lack thereof has been an issue, but just his overall game, at least from what I've been seeing, is just not what they thought it was going to be. And you want to try to fix that in some way. I'm not sure how you do it. Maybe you just throw him up in the press box for a little bit and make him think about what he's done. Really the only solution right now. And sometimes it works. Toronto did it with Dakota Joshua. He was dog shit for a while. They threw him up in the press box and he woke up a little bit and was a little bit more physical. Same with some of their other guys. Domi as well. He's been a lot better, although I still think that they're dangling him. But just as an example, sometimes a little trip to the press box doesn't hurt. Overall, it gets your head out of your ass and it gets you going. And that's what some of these guys need sometimes.
Yeah. Let's wrap up with the big one then, or did you have another Oilers one?
Quinn Hughes is the only thing I want to talk about. That was crazy.
What was your reaction when you first caught wind that, holy shit, it's Minnesota?
Yeah. Nobody knew. Nobody had an inkling that it was the Wild. Everybody was so focused on, maybe it was our fault because we were so focused on the Eastern Conference, because that's where we thought, he really wanted to be. And it's not like he had no trade protection, but they did clearly keep him abreast of the entire situation, along with Pat Brisson, his agent. And then they admitted, too, that they gave him heads up that, hey, look, Minnesota's coming into this. What do you think? I don't think it would have made much of a difference based on the package. Whether he would have liked it or not, made things a lot easier. And clearly his comments, he's pretty damn happy about this situation for the time being. But surprised. And not just that it's Minnesota, that it happened when it did. I thought that there was going to be a little bit more runway in this. It happened a little sooner than I think a lot of people anticipated. But, full credit to Bill Guerin. And Quinn Hughes said it yesterday. It takes a lot of balls to do this. You've got to sack up or whatever the hell he said. Either way, that's the messaging. And Billy G did that. He said, look, why do we got to screw around? What's the point in wasting time here? Here's our best offer. Here's what we think. Let's just get this done. When you're dealing with a player of Quinn Hughes' caliber, there's no need to dick around it and dance around it. And as he said, you're not trying to fool anyone in this type of scenario. So just go at it hard and take your biggest swing, and it paid off. I give him full credit. Now, there were other teams that were part of it to an extent that were trying to make things happen. Obviously, New Jersey being one of them. We know Detroit. We know Carolina. I touched on the Rangers, and there were other teams that were kind of on the perimeter as well. Philadelphia, Buffalo, we talked about, and so on. Columbus to an extent. But it just came down to the best fit for Vancouver. Given the circumstances, guys, I think Vancouver did a hell of a job.
Me too.
I really like this return for them. You get a 2C in Marco Rossi, who should be a consistent 60-point kind of guy, which is effectively what you're looking for. Now he's, Elias Pettersson's out, so you move Rossi up right now. But then you've got Bouillon, who I had a chance to meet him during the Stanley Cup final in his draft year. We were doing stuff for NHL Network Radio. Just a smart kid, smart player. He's going to be a stud for this. I thought he would have been a stud for the Minnesota Wild for a long time. Vancouver gets to reap the benefits of that. You get Ogren, who's realistically, third line plateau potential, which is still fine. You're getting quality in this deal. And then you get the first round pick. I think the Vancouver Canucks hit a friggin' home run in this one. How many runs? I don't know. We'll see as things kind of move along here. It could be a grand slam if it works out perfectly, especially if Ogren is that third line type of piece that you need for those caliber teams. Great job for them. Great job for Minnie for taking a huge friggin' cut here. And I'd like to see more of that.
I think Minnesota shouldn't be done from here. Like, again, you now have what I think is the best blue line in the NHL. You might have the best goaltending duo or one of the best goaltending duos in the NHL. Like, I would imagine what's next, and you just said, like, they're not. Like, it's a forward, right? Yeah.
They were looking for an offensive guy, like a top 6 caliber player, before they made this trade, before this was even a friggin' possibility. So I anticipate them still looking. They still have cap space. They've still got some maneuverability there financially. So it wouldn't surprise me at all. The only thing I'm curious now is because Rossi's out, do they try to focus on a center? I don't think they care. I don't think that's a big priority. Now you look at championship caliber teams. We touched on, defense. It's usually, stud goalie, stud defenseman, stud center. And I think Minnesota eventually will try to address that. But I don't like legit number one D, legit number one goalie. Eric Sinek is great. Zuccarello can play any position, solid too. But I think, and this is more something likely later, but I think they're going to go fishing for that piece. In the meantime, I think it's definitely forward. Like I said, they were looking for a scorer before this Quinn Hughes thing even entered the equation. I think, Guerin's going to continue to look for that. And I wouldn't be shocked if he pulls something off here later on this season. Probably, you're probably looking at around Olympic time from that was what I thought was kind of their deadline right before Olympics. If they can pull something off to supplement that top 6 and bring in some extra firepower, that they'd like to do it. I got to imagine that's still a timeline. And now you got Quinn. So you got yourself a little extra ammo in terms of the desire and the need to kind of push yourself forward to improve this team even more.
Yeah. All right. It's great to not just be having you on here and being like, so Oilers goaltending for like 15 minutes. Like, a lot of news finally. It was a hell of a weekend.
Man. That's probably the most exciting thing. Like, just the fact that they addressed it in some capacity, and at least it's not the primary focal point. I know we touched on the backup already, and I'm sure Liam, I know you'll bring it up next week for sure.
I got a list of names for next week already. Don't worry.
Yeah. Perfect. Good.
We're digging deep. All right. Thanks for popping on, Dave.
All right, boys. See ya.
There you go, Dave Pagnotta every week here on Oilers Nation Everyday. You can read him at the 4th period. Brossoit on waivers. We had someone throw a mock trade in the YouTube chat.
Oh, for Brossoit?
For Brossoit.
I saw the one for Quinn Hughes. This was just the trade deal they sent to Pittsburgh for Quinn Hughes.
Oh, no. They were saying for Demko.
Oh, sorry, for Demko. I thought it was for Quinn Hughes.
I don't know why you would want Thatcher Demko, because he's just hurt all the time.
Great goalie.
Great goalie.
When he's available.
And the second he gets hurt, you're just Calvin Pickard's your starter, and you don't want that.
There was the spooky part on Saturday when Tristan Jarry skated to the bench with an injury.
Oh, yeah.
I said to Aaron, I was like, man, I've been telling people all day that he is not injury prone. And then the first game, he might leave. I was like, you get back to that net right now. Also, Laurent Brossoit, we talk about scoring depth issues.
He scored in the American
Scored a
League.
goal on the weekend. I think he might cover a couple areas.
Yeah. Everyone's always like, make Bouchard a winger, make Nurse a winger, make Brossoit a winger.
Yeah, make him a winger. Let's get going.
So the mock trade someone threw in was, would you do Tomasic, Philp, and a late round pick for Brossoit 50% retained?
Yes.
I don't even think you would need to throw Philp into there. It's probably just Tomasic and a late round pick. Like, I think the Blackhawks would want to do right to some extent by Brossoit. Like, having him toiling around in the minors in a contract year when he hasn't played in 18 months, like, that's not good for anybody in this whole story.
No, it's not.
If you trade Tomasic, it's 1.2 out the door. You get 50% retention on Brossoit. It brings him down to like 1.75 or whatever, right? Yeah, about 1.7.
Sure.
No, a little bit under that. 1.65. Okay, that's good. 1.65. So that's a $450,000 gap. You send down Pickard. You have $600,000 to get a replacement up for Tomasic. I mean, again, the Oilers at some point are going to have to just run like 12 forwards, 72 goalies, and like bare bones it a little bit to make the money work. But like Brossoit 50% can absolutely work if Tomasic goes out the door. And I would have no problem making that deal. Again, when the Edmonton Oilers are fully healthy, and again, there's no guarantee they ever are. I get that. But you need to take, or you want to add in Kapanen and Roslovic to this forward group. Well, and now Quinn Hutson's up as well. So Hutson takes Jones's spot. Roslovic, we'll say, takes Lazar's spot. And Kapanen's probably taking a spot from Mangiapane, Frederick, or Janmark. Like, you don't really have a need for a David Tomasic once people start getting healthy. And if you like Quinn Hutson enough to bring him up and presumably keep David Tomasic in the press box for him, you absolutely do that trade. If you're Chicago, do you really need the extra goalie toiling away in the minors? No, you don't. And if he clears waivers, it's very obvious he doesn't have a ton of trade value, so you got to keep 50%. They probably would benefit from a guy like Tomasic with some scoring touch who could go and play in the in your third or fourth line.
Tomasic might want that too.
I think he would over going on waivers.
Play a lot more. Also, let's not forget the quote from Bowman at the start of the season where he said, "We want guys to come up once."
Yeah,
I think Clattenburg's in a bit of a different category for that side of things, but I think in general, like Quinn Hutson might just be here now, and like, we got to see him play, and if he plays well, and all that stuff. There's a lot of factors to it, but like, they might be like, hey, no one's scoring. This guy's scoring. He has 19 goals in however many games it is. Like, he's proven he can do it. He deserves to be here. Andrew Mangiapane, you currently do not deserve to be here.
Yeah. We'll see. Spotify question for the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament coming up at the end of January. Head to nationgear.ca if you want to get in on this. Register a team. One of my favorite weekends of the season. Shout out to Tourism Jasper, CHE Hockey, and the Fairmont JPL. It's a choose your own adventure for the Spotify question.
Oh, I love those books.
You can either A, give us your trade proposal, or if you'd be interested in Laurent Brossoit.
Okay.
Or B, you can tell us where should Quinn Hutson play and do you think he's here to stay?
Okay. Well, should we go through the scenario? Let's do it ourselves.
Okay.
Let's go through the exercise.
Yep.
Top 6 stays the same.
Yes.
Bottom 6 changes.
I would do...
What if they go a little crazy and keep Oil to the max in the lineup?
You think they might actually pull the trigger and healthy someone?
Someone commented in the chat he had 5 hits, and I said no, he had 0. I accidentally sorted by block shots, not hits. He actually had 4 hits yesterday, so shout out to that guy for noticing and calling me out.
Yeah.
He played 5 minutes, had 4 hits. Is that enough impact for you? Like, I didn't notice him much, to be honest, but I also didn't know it's Mangiapane. And this is an opportunity to be like, you're out, buddy. You're gonzo. I think you could put Frederick on the other side, move Janmark down, put Mangiapane to the press box, and get Quinn Hutson on the third line. With Freddie and Henry.
Yeah, I'd have him up on the third line. Like, I just think this is very pointless if you put him in for Max Jones and then just give him the 5 minutes and 39 seconds of Max Jones. So, like, I see that logic there. I would totally be, Henrique. Are you okay with Henrique, Frederick, and Quinn Hutson? I want to put him in a position to succeed, and I just feel gross putting him with anyone in the bottom 6, but he has to be in the bottom 6.
Yeah, I think so too, because I don't think Savoy's... He's kind of hit a bit of a slump here. To an extent, it's only been 2 or 3
Made
games.
a great play on Saturday night, knocking down that Ekman-Larsson pass, though.
Yeah, that's fair. I just think yesterday, like, we've seen, like, he took a penalty the other day, first one of the season.
Yeah, that's weird.
Weird turnovers from him. I've not been a huge fan of that. I think having Hudson play on the third line with Frederick and Trent Frederick and Adam Henrique is probably the way to go. And you need to give him like 12 minutes.
Yep.
He needs to play. He needs to have regular shifts. And hopefully the game goes that way as well. And the Oilers, last time they were in Pittsburgh, remember they were down 5-0? And they just had those three guys just skate around for, I think they literally all played 30 minutes. And they almost came back and won.
Yeah. I do remember that game.
Yeah, it was dumb.
Again, Hudson, you're not calling him up to sit him, so he's going to be playing tomorrow.
And the other side of it, too, is people are saying, move Nuge down. Then who are you rewarding?
I think
you know
maybe
what I
the
mean?
logic, and I see Mulek says it, like, could you get more out of Henrique putting him on McDavid's wing?
He would be the only guy.
Yeah.
Because at least he's a smart player. Like, Mangiapane's giving you nothing even when he's with. We just haven't seen Henrique play up there.
Yeah, that's fair. I would totally try to invest in some minutes Henrique on the wing.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to break up the top line, though, because they're playing good still. I know you scored once against Montreal. That sucks, but, like, I don't want to mess with this top line.
That was a weird
I
game
used the line
yesterday.
before. I said it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
Like the top line's the one thing that's really rolling right now. Do I want to subtract from that to get a spark elsewhere? I don't.
We'll see. Cover that more maybe tomorrow. Get your Spotify comments in. It's a game day edition of the program. But for now, obviously a big trade in the Pacific Division and a big trade in the Western Conference because Minnesota looks scary. So let's continue this talk by going to our good friend David Quadrelli. He's brought to you by Oodle Noodle. You can take advantage of the value menu deal and add 2 green onion cakes, 5 spring rolls, or 6 wontons to your order for just $2. It's valid on any signature or premium box, and it's in-store and online only. So head to oodlenoodle.ca to find a location near you. David Quadrelli, Canucks Conversation and Canucks Army Editor-in-Chief at the Nation Network, joins us. Busy weekend for you, not a lot of downtime. You're doing a lot of work.
Oh my gosh, dude. I said it on our show too. I'm not sure if you caught it. I was playing Scrabble with my mom. Had her over at 4 o'clock and I was like, hey, yeah, come play Scrabble. You know, my wife was at work. We do our Scrabble and Monopoly night, my mom and I.
Nice.
And it got cut like 3 turns in. We finished the game after she waited for me. But yeah, 3 turns in, I get a notification that Elliot Friedman is saying that Quinn Hutson is traded. So I had to dip. It was a wild weekend.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And like, again, just totally coming out of nowhere, not just in the fact that he got traded, but coming out of nowhere in the fact that like Minnesota of all teams, like that wouldn't, again, stunning in every turn. How surprised were you that it was Minnesota at the end of the day?
Definitely surprised, although I don't think I should have been. We did a lot of coverage of Minnesota when it came to a Kiefer Sherwood trade. And that's the other thing. Everybody's waiting for a Kiefer Sherwood trade, and bang, there goes the Quinn Hughes trade. Kiefer Sherwood's still a Canuck. What are we doing? Anyways, we did a lot of deep dives into the Minnesota system, and when we were doing that, because we knew that the Canucks wanted to get young players, we were like, okay, well, obviously, Zeev Bouillon's completely off limits. You can't touch him in a Kiefer Sherwood trade. That's not happening. But maybe you can get Liam Ogren, and then the Canucks go and trade for Bouillon and Ogren, not to mention Marco Rossi, who they've been connected to for a long, long time, and a first-round pick for Quinn. So surprised for sure. Not surprised that a Quinn trade happened. Let me be clear on that.
Yep.
Not surprised that a Quinn trade happened, but definitely a little bit surprised that it was Minnesota that he ended up going to.
What did you make of the whole package? It seems like they got a great deal back from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, we did a piece comparing it to other NHL blockbusters this morning over at CanucksArmy.com, and you know, the consensus seems to be the Canucks wouldn't have gotten a better package from anyone else, and this is a good package. People are very excited about Zeev Bouillon, as they should be, but I don't think we can ignore that it's a failure that they had to trade Quinn Hughes in the first place. And I think that's kind of the part that's getting lost a little bit. And I don't think it should be. I don't think this organization should get a free pass for losing Quinn Hughes because, hey, they did okay in a trade return. Let me be clear. I like the package that they got, but losing Quinn Hughes in the first place is an organizational failure, and they should be called out for that. So yeah, the package is great. You're happy. Like we explored at CA today. In all fairness, it's a pretty good package compared to other NHL blockbuster trade packages, especially ones that come with the knowledge that you're going to lose this player. They did okay. Yeah, they did pretty well.
Do you think they should have just realized where they were at in the summer? Like, you extend Brock Besser for so long, you extend Thatcher Demko, you go get Evander Kane from the Oilers. Like, I feel like you've just made a bunch of moves there that just keep you in this same land
Mush.
of mid.
Yeah.
So what are you suggesting? They should have gone further to make it a playoff team so that Quinn could stay, or further the other way and just trade Quinn in the offseason? What are you suggesting?
I don't think they should have extended those two guys. Besser, I think that they should have allowed to go or trade him earlier. And then Evander Kane, Evander Kane's an interesting one because you can bring him in, sure, then he can become an asset for you. I kind of understand that side of things, but I feel like they should have realized being like, we're not competing with those top three teams right now in our division, and we need to reset everything. But they were so afraid to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do revisionist history and pretend like I was saying that in the offseason. I also take Quinn at his word when he says he came into this year with an open mind. Like, that was what he told everyone that he was talking to about it, was that, yeah, it sucks right now, but I'm going to give it my best shot with them, and let's see if we can turn this around and be more like the team they were in 23-24 than they were last season. The fact of the matter is just this is who they are. And yeah, you're right, Liam. You're probably right. They probably should have leaned into a rebuild back then, but I think to give them some credit, they at least kept the 15th pick, right? And then they took Braden Coots with it. And they could have easily, again, there was that package on the table for Marco Rossi. It was a first, it was Archer Shilovs, and it was Atu Ratu. They decided not to do that. They get a good prospect in Braden Coots at 15th overall. And yeah, maybe keeping one foot in the rebuild door or whatever, and then one in the other one where you're trying to compete for the playoffs. Maybe that's not the best idea, and I think that's what we're seeing this year. But yeah, you're probably right in hindsight, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I was saying what you're saying now. I wasn't saying that in the offseason.
So now going forward, does this, and I know the rebuild word is just like a buzzword in your market and all of that, but this clearly signifies they're selling off this year, right? Tyler Myers seems like a piece that could go. I know there's been smoke around Connor Garland's name for a while, but could it go deeper than that? Could there be bigger names than just those two on the market?
Yeah, this is the most interesting part of it all, Tyler, is that we've never heard the word rebuild used in this market. It was used after the Hughes trade. In the press release, Jim Rutherford was quoted with the word rebuild and said, this is an important part of our rebuild. Now, speaking of revisionist history, there's this idea that Rutherford's trying to just sneak in there that, oh, we've actually been in a rebuild for a while, and no, you're not. No, you weren't. And they were quoted even last month saying we're not interested in a rebuild. That was from Rutherford, and now they're saying, well, we've actually been in one for a while. But back to your point, the biggest thing with the Hughes trade, and everybody's excited about the package, right? And I think most people have the take that I just gave you, that it's okay to be disappointed that Hughes is gone. It's okay to call out the organization for why they lost Quinn Hughes. And it's also okay to be happy about the trade package. But what really is going to define how we look back on this trade is what they do next, right? And the biggest fear for fans in this market is they accelerate out of this rebuild too quickly. They get some wins down the stretch. I know New Jersey's in their own sort of turmoil right now, but they win. Zeev Buium gets 2 points on the weekend in that game. Everybody's super excited about it. That's what everybody's most concerned about, is what happens next. How far into this do you go? Because just like Hughes couldn't make them a cup contender alone, Buium's not going to make them a cup contender alone. But Buium, Gavin McKenna, or just a top 5 pick in this year's draft, another pick in the 15 to 25 range, Minnesota's pick, right? Can that be enough? No, probably not. You're going to need more than even that, right? You see the Edmontons, you see the Colorados. You need to get that talent at the top of the draft in multiple seasons. And I think the big fear for everybody in this market is that, okay, they've taken the first step. The first step was get a good package for Quinn Hughes. And they've done that. What's next? And it's like you said, Tyler, what happens to Evander Kane? What happens to Brock Besser? What happens to Connor Garland? Philip Hronik, another name. It's going to be interesting how deep into it they go, because I believe they need to go pretty deep into it. They need to be at the bottom of the standings for at least this year and next if they want any chance of accumulating the level of assets that you need to be competitive in this NHL. I don't know how far they'll go. I don't. I wish I knew the answer. I don't. I think that's the big fear, is what happens next. Are they going to accelerate out of this too soon? And I think that's where we're all at. I will say this on Myers, though, just to give you guys something. he's got kids here. They live in Kelowna. They spend all year in BC. He's got a no move clause. He's at the end of his career. He also is a pretty good culture carrier in that room. I don't see them. Maybe they'll ask him to waive his no move. I don't know if that happens. And then even if they ask him, I don't know if he's going to be open to going anywhere else.
Yeah, like, is he one of those guys who, and I don't want this to sound like a slight on him or whatever, but like, is he one of those guys who has like the drive to go chase a ring somewhere, especially with a year left? Like, he could sit there and say, you know what, I'll do that next deadline when I only got to be gone for 3 months, and then I'll call it quits after that.
Sure. That, see, that makes more sense. Yeah.
What would a package, you mentioned it a little bit, just wanted to bring it up again. What would a package look like for a Kiefer Sherwood? I mean, he's $1.5 million. The Oilers are looking for bottom 6 guys. He feels like a guy that would fit what they need. If Vancouver and Edmonton are willing to make another trade, we'll find out, I guess. But what would that cost?
Well, the Canucks are looking for a first and a prospect. Have been for a while. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Kiefer Sherwood hasn't been traded yet, guys. Like, I think the price is probably going to have to come down. Because let's put it this way, right, Liam? The Canucks got what they were looking for in a Quinn Hughes trade. Like, they said, we want the equivalent of 4 first-round picks, and they feel like they got that with that trade. And again, Booyah, blue-chip prospect, all that sort of stuff. Everybody's excited about him. But with Sherwood, I don't know if they're going to get a first and a prospect. Like, Harm and I have been saying for a while, if you can just get a second, you take it. It's Kiefer Sherwood. It's found money, right? Like, you are fortunate to be in a position where you're flipping a guy that you signed to a 2-year deal at $1.5 million to play on your 4th line. He breaks the hits record. He scores all those goals. He gets off to a super hot start this season. You're fortunate to be in a position to gain an asset for that. So again, I respect them for keeping that asking price high. I don't think someone's going to give up a first and a prospect for Kiefer Sherwood. Now, the interesting thing that works in the Canucks' favor, I suppose, is that there's not many sellers out there. Like, there's not many teams out there that are selling. Like, who is there? There's like Vancouver, Nashville. But as we get closer to the deadline, more are going to emerge, right? Like, more of these middle of the pack teams, these standings are so close. More of these teams are going to emerge as sellers. God knows why the Calgary Flames aren't sellers, but maybe they will be by the deadline. Do you know what I mean? So that might work in their favor right now, but I worry about that as we get closer and closer to the deadline. But to put it simply, like, if I were the GM, I would say, like a second and like a B-level prospect. You're super happy to get that for Kiefer Sherwood. But this idea of a first and a prospect, that just seems too high.
I have a trade comparison, which is quite a funny one to randomly bring up, but this one always stands out for me because it was so random. But you remember when Yannick Hansen got traded to San Jose, and it was for that Russian prospect, and it was a 4th-round pick with the condition that if San Jose won the cup, it became a 1st-round pick.
Oh, yeah.
So I wonder if it would be something stupid like that. You know what I mean? Like, 3rd-round pick, but if we win, sure, you can have our 1st-round pick.
Because, we won't give a shit.
Yeah.
And that would be amazing, because you know what was happening in that playoff run, gentlemen? Every Canucks fan was rooting for the San Jose Sharks. Yeah. So if that goes to Edmonton, I don't know.
San Jose eliminated in 6 games that year, by the way. Did not get the 1st-round pick.
It was very, very quick. I guess, like, last one, and maybe we've kind of covered this, so it's, like, pointless, but it really only is, like, a Besser. Maybe it's a Pettersson thing, but that's a whole nother can of worms. Hronek is in this group, Demko. Are there any of these guys who signed long-term and committed who are going to see this Hughes deal, put up their hand and be like, hey, not what I signed up for, like, I want out? Like, can you see that happening, or do you think everyone's going to buy into the idea that in 2 years they can be competitive again?
Honestly, guys, every one of those guys that you just mentioned got asked about it on the weekend, and none of them said anything that would make you even think remotely close to that. But that being said, that's what they're saying publicly, right? Like, let's not stick our heads in the sand here. Ideally, one of them does want out because you can get some assets for them, hopefully. But I will say this. The mood around the Vancouver Canucks has been very bad for the past month and a half, really most of the season. Quinn quite clearly didn't want to be here. It was all over his face when he was coming out to do media. And it was interesting because we knew a Hughes trade was eventually coming. We didn't know when it was going to be. We thought it could be a draft thing. So you kind of got some pushback if you pointed out that Hughes looked absolutely miserable when he was speaking to media. Again, it's normal. Fans are like, well, it's because he has to talk to the stupid media. It's like, okay, but also that's how he's speaking to fans, right? Like he's not doing Instagram lives telling everybody about how he feels. Like that's how you communicate with your fans. That's how it works. So it was a bad vibe for a while. And I don't know if you guys caught Buyam's intermission interview with Dan Murphy, but he basically said like, yeah, like, a lot of pressure. I'm not Quinn Hughes yet. And he didn't use the word yet, but he was basically talking about how like, I want to forge my own path. I want to be here. And the vibe around the team is better is basically, this is my long-winded way of saying that. The vibe around the team is better. And also let's not kid ourselves. Like the Canucks had David Kampf as their number one center before this trade. Now it's Marco Rossi. That's a big step up. Elias Pettersson's going to come back. Philip Hedl, let's park that conversation. But if you have your 1-2 punch of Elias Pettersson, Marco Rossi, I think the players, you mentioned Brock Besser, Tyler. Brock Besser's been centered by David Kampf for the last month. I'm pretty sure he's excited about this trade to some extent. Again, you lose Hughes, but pretty sure he's happy that he has Marco Rossi down the middle now. So again, it's kind of it's an interesting one because they're rebuilding, but all of the pieces they traded for were immediately in their lineup and helping the team out.
Are they going to announce a new captain?
No.
Well,
no, they won't. They're going to do A's for the rest of this season. I would be stunned if they named one for next year. I don't think you name a captain for next year. At least at this juncture, I don't think you do. There's no one that's like, if we can have a debate where 5 names get thrown out, I don't think anyone deserves it.
That's a good point.
Fair.
The last one, and just because I saw this kind of getting thrown around a little bit, but like so much talk about the culture in that room with the Miller stuff and everything that went on. Was Quinn Hughes a bad captain? Is that something that Canucks fans are just throwing out because it's like a bitter divorce here and you had to watch him go and you're upset and you're lashing out? Or was Quinn Hughes a bad captain?
You're putting me on the spot a bit, but I will say this.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I just talk. No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm just not going to get quoted. I'm not getting radioed as saying yes. Quinn was a bad captain. Yeah, thank you. Well, we got enough people in Vancouver. Holy cow! You seen Canucks Twitter? We got like 9 people that are listening to this, just waiting to tweet out exactly what I'm saying. But I will say this, okay? Quinn got a lot of criticism in this market, especially toward the end, because it wasn't a unique situation that we saw a captain having to talk for bad teams. Henrik Sedin, his demeanor didn't change from when they were a perennial cup contender to when he was at the twilight of his career and they were resetting the culture and all that sort of stuff. That was Hank, Naslund, Linden, all these guys. I'm skipping over Roberto Luongo. Don't forget he was the captain in this market as well. But all of those guys, Stan Smeal's the one that everybody really points to. And again, before my time, admittedly, but look at how bad those Canucks teams were. Stan's still a part of the organization. Like, Stan is forever a Canuck. So I don't think people are going to look back, and I don't think it's fair to look back on Quinn Hughes in a negative way, his time with the Canucks in a negative way. Let me be abundantly clear. The Vancouver Canucks failed Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes did not fail the Vancouver Canucks. So I struggle to come out and say, yes, he's a bad captain. The way he handled himself toward the end was not what a good captain would have done. He was an okay captain. Let's leave it at that. Because I think he was good before. I think, I think he led by example. I think he was also pretty good at speaking for the team. I think he was a good ambassador for the team. But toward the end, I don't think it was a good situation.
Yeah, I think that's a fair answer. Quads, appreciate your time. I know you're very busy and you're probably getting 1,000 requests, so thank you for finding time for us.
Cheers, boys. Appreciate it.
All right, there you go. David Quadrelli. If you want some good stuff, go watch his live reaction that he did to the deal. They had so many people watching. It was insane.
Yeah, they had a lot of people watching. A lot of people also go through the show. I think it was J-Pat was there, Irfan. Obviously, what's his co-host name again? Harmon, Sarah.
Yep.
Tons of guys go through. It was a great show. They do a good job.
Yeah. Quads is the man. I appreciate him popping on and giving us some time. Let's wrap up the show, Liam, with a little bit of what's trending. We want to talk NFL. I heard Aaron Sy. Quite the comeback for my Buffalo Bills on Sunday.
You guys can talk about it.
I'll wear it. Well, we still might win the AFC East. I think we're still in the driver's seat.
Probably will, yeah.
That was classic Josh Allen, brother.
Yeah.
21-0 lead, 24-7 at halftime. I don't know if the people saw Dave Portnoy in his halftime video that he put out.
Tough one.
Keep saying it. Send it to my group chat. We do not condone him. He does not speak for all of us. The moment that was posted, he was saying Super Bowl's basically in New England. And the moment that was posted, it all blew up in our faces. Josh Allen was Josh Allen in the second half. He's still confirmed really good at football. Patriots couldn't stop a nosebleed. I listened to a Boston podcast. I was going through it yesterday, and then the Oilers lost. It was a bad day for boards yesterday.
Yeah.
Got some playoff matchups, though. We might salvage it this evening. But I was listening to some Boston pods, and they were just like, the refs are the worst. They lost us the game, and they have injuries. No, man, the Bills outplayed the Pats straight up. It's 1-1. See you in the playoffs, bud.
Yeah, honestly, we probably will see each other in the playoffs, which would be a hell of a game. But yeah, Josh Allen was just the fucking man last night. He's so much fun to watch. Like, the stuff he does, going on the runs that he does. One touchdown throw to Knox was crazy.
You could feel it coming. I texted my buddies. I said, I'll never do it, but you should live bet the Bills right now.
Yeah.
Like, this just smells like a comeback. Also, you bringing your Josh Allen jersey for me?
Yeah, no, I forgot. I'll do that at some point.
I'll do
week.
it tomorrow on pregame.
All right, there you go. Number 2, the Olympic team's going to get announced on New Year's Eve. Mm-hmm. Can I give you my I only hate this because I work in sports media and obviously no one's going to feel bad for me rant?
Sure.
Why are we doing this on New Year's Eve? Come on.
Yeah.
Do it on like January 5th when nothing's happening.
Hopefully it just gets announced very early in the day.
Or you know what? I give full permission. Any insider can ruin the announcement.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
I want this thing fully out. Come on, Frank. I want this thing fully exposed by like the night before or like 11 a.m.
Yeah.
People are doing shit on New Year's Eve. I don't want to have to like do a reaction video to Zach Hyman not making the team.
Hopefully it's just McDavid that makes it. I'm kind of out on the Bouchard idea.
Me too.
Never wanted him. Skinner, not a chance. That guy sucks. No way he should go into Canada.
Jarry?
Maybe.
I don't know if he's been doing the piss test.
I would assume no.
I would assume no.
Yeah. Why? Also, too, like, New Year's Eve is a World Juniors Day.
Yeah.
Like, Canada has a big game that night. I don't know who they play. I just know it's a big game because it's always the big game of the round robin for them. It's too bad.
The Oilers are playing the Boston Bruins.
The Oilers are playing the Bruins. So they should, I would imagine they do it before the games start. They usually do these announcements.
Someone said it'll be announced before noon our time, so that makes me feel better.
They'll do it at midnight when the ball drops.
Just ruin a bunch of guys.
Every player comes out of like smoke.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid no longer in the game. He had to go to New York.
You wrote a new Stranger Things trailer?
Oh, yeah. New Stranger Things trailer came out. The first 4 episodes were awesome.
Chills, brother.
Yeah.
Chills.
I really don't know what's happening. There's this big red ball now that's just like, looks like it's going to...
Vecna looked a little different too, I think.
It did look a little bit different. There's a lot going on here, Tyler. When you eventually get on the train, you'll understand. But things are going to get stranger.
So that comes out on Christmas?
Yeah,
and
I don't know
New
when.
Year's Day?
Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to find time to watch this on Christmas Day, to be honest. Probably not.
We got
Probably
NFL
not going to
football.
watch.
We got 5 NBA games. We got Stranger Things.
And we have Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Christmas, people.
Christmas.
I'm not going to just... Because all these episodes now, like some of them are like 2 hours long.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm not sitting there without my family, you know, like...
Gotta get the whole family on the Stranger Things
I
train.
know, it's going to be a tough one. But it's exciting. I love Stranger Things.
Connor Bedard injured.
Yeah.
Will be reevaluated in January. So that is not he'll be back playing in January. He will be reevaluated in January. That certainly makes it an interesting wrinkle for Hockey Canada because you need to announce on December 31st if he's on the team. I don't know how injury replacements work.
Should be pretty straightforward, no?
Like if a guy's hurt, you can swap him out.
You probably just have to have a list of like, these are my replacement
reserves.
players. Yeah, reserves.
I could see it then where maybe they put Bedard on just because you can take him off, but you can't put him on if you regret it. You know what I mean?
I really don't know how this team's going to go.
I'm so torn on what they're going to do.
Who was it last week that said it's between Schaefer and Bouchard for that spot?
Who said that?
Oh, Pierre LeBrun said that. For that finals, 8th spot is between Schaefer and Bouchard. He's been pretty dialed on the Olympic stuff.
I don't know if I would, because he's super tight with Doug Armstrong.
Yeah.
I don't think I take either of them.
Oh, I would definitely take one of them. I think Schaefer should be on this team. I actually have no doubt in my mind he should be on this team.
Really?
Man, his numbers are... He is the only guy to do what he is doing in the NHL at 18. How do you not reward that? But also, too, he's going to be one of the greatest players to ever play. He deserves to be on this team. At least that's kind of what I think of it. Anyway, isn't he a left shot too? The left shot's somewhat weak, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's a left shot.
Yeah, he is.
So there you go.
That's it. Yeah, I don't know. Someone said he's perfect. Bouchard is perfect coverage for Makar. I do see that logic of like if Cale Makar were to get hurt, put another elite power play guy on there because a power play goal can totally change the tournament.
Yeah, I think so too. Also, like Josh Morris is on this team and he's like a power play guy.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, Mulick said I'd take them both over Parayko and Sanheim. I don't think Sanheim makes the team this time around.
No, he can't.
He's not good enough.
I don't think Thomas Harley makes a team. I don't think Sanheim makes a team. Mm-hmm. I like Parayko will make the team. Should he make it? That's a different conversation. Should Drew Doughty make it? Probably not. But probably will go.
I think I like him as my 7. Like if you get to a point where one, I want Drew Doughty there because I think he's good in the room, and I think that camaraderie and getting buy-in, I think that really, really matters. But I would be having a conversation with a super competitive Drew Doughty beforehand if I'm, Hockey Canada brass, and I'd be saying, hey man, like we'll bring you, but we're not promising you minutes. So if we bring you, you can't be like walking around mopey and pouting if you're the 7th D-man and you're scratched. We need you to be, a little bit of a cheerleader here, like a presence for us in the room. And if you get the sense that Doughty's like down to do that, I love him as a 7 because if you are in a pinch and it's like, oh shit, we need someone to play in the semifinals and they haven't played in 10, 12, 14 days, you can go to Drew Doughty and trust that you're getting a nice, honest 15 out of him.
Yeah, I agree. Diaz in 30 games is a little too early to call the greatest player to play. I didn't say that. I said he could be because he looks to be already.
Yeah. Someone said Vancouver was cooked. This one was from Ryan. Vancouver was cooked when they traded Miller for what they did. That and Elias falling off a cliff killed the franchise. I think they were cooked when they traded Bo Horvat for no reason.
Yeah, that was silly. They've just done a lot of stuff. Like Jim Rutherford, he's so active. He does all this stuff. It's like, okay, but what are his good traits? Hronik's obviously a good one. But, like, getting a JC Miller pick and then immediately flipping it for Marcus Pettersson.
Yeah.
So you're just living in no man's land. Like, make a decision. One side or the other. I don't understand all these teams.
They traded Horvat for a first-round pick, which they then flipped for Hronik. So, like...
That worked.
They got Atu Ratu, who has 11 points in 28 games this season, 25 points in 76 games in his NHL career. Like... He's not going to be anything more than a bottom 6 guy. Mm-hmm. And then they got Anthony Beauvillier, who I know that was kind of to make money work and shit, but then they flip him for a 5th-round pick. Like, trading Horvat, they just kept doing that thing. And, like, even you go back to last year, they trade Miller, and then they go take a first and acquire Marcus Pettersson. Yeah. And it's like, don't do that. Like if you're going to trade him and take the futures.
Like, Pettersson's good.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's a decent player, but it's just like, you're just doing too much. Like, let your team be bad.
Yep.
Like, it's not a good thing by any means, but it's certainly not as bad as people make it seem.
Short-term pain, long-term gain, Liam. That's the line.
This draft is one, though, that you want a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some lists where McKenna is already down to 4. I don't think that's solely based on his play. That's solely based on other guys are just climbing.
This does, though, I think, make it a good year if you're Vancouver and you can guarantee get to last place. Like, bottom out, 32nd in the league, you guarantee a top 3 pick.
Yeah.
Which means you're getting either Verhoff. Hello, there's a replacement for Quinn Hughes. You're getting either Verhoff, McKenna, or who's the Swede?
Stenberg.
Stenberg, yeah.
Even this Tyden Lawson kid is kind of climbing right now, too.
But, like, you guarantee if you come last that you're getting one of the big 3.
Yeah.
Do it. If you get McKenna, it potentially changes your franchise.
Any of them. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Swedes do typically well there.
Yeah. All right. That's a wrap on today's edition of the show. Our NFL parlay went 1 for 3. We nailed the Chargers. We missed on Seattle, Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers was so funny to watch. He's just like super overweight. Like when you look at him normally, you're like, yeah, he's fine, like a fine looking guy. You put him on a football field next to a bunch of incredibly jacked and tough, in shape like NFLers or 25-year-olds, and it's like, ooh. And he also like couldn't throw the ball that well.
Yeah, I did not watch it.
But he always threw the ball like in a weird sidearm angle, and then now it's just see his big belly kind of hanging out through his thing. Shout out Phil, though. Shout out.
Yeah, Tyler Mulick said when he fell over, it was funny. It was. Tomorrow, game day edition of the program, so we'll have Jay around for that one. Not sure what else we'll get up to tomorrow on the show. I mean, the Buffalo news, that's big. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much people really want to hear us talking about it.
Yeah, see what happens. Maybe they'll trade Alex Tuck to Edmonton now.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
That would be great. All right, that's a wrap on today's edition of the show, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Dave Pagnotta and Dave Quadrelli for swinging by and giving us a little bit of time. We will see you all right back here tomorrow, noon Eastern. Oil up. What's up, Nation citizens? If you enjoyed today's episode of Oilers Nation Everyday, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube to not miss any of our content. We got you covered from interviews, insight, analysis, everything you need to stay up to date on everything around the team. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video.